This is the Astrology and Tarot Show with Jessica Adams.
Thanks, Shane. This is your Astrology and Tarot for the week starting Monday, February 9. Your tarot can be decoded at jessicaadams.com. Aries, the Ace of Wands. Taurus, the Hermit. Gemini, the Three of Cups. Cancer, the Emperor. Leo, the World. Virgo, the Four of Pentacles. Libra, the Lovers. Scorpio, Temperance. Sagittarius, the Devil. Capricorn, the Ten of Cups. Aquarius, the Three of Wands. And Pisces, the Ten of Pentacles. If you have Aries factors in your birth chart, on February 14, allowing a day either side, Saturn enters Aries for the first time in about 28 years. And your reputation, your image, your profile, name, title, face, shape, style, are now subject to quite heavy new limits and restrictions. This cycle will run until 2028. It will probably be about your social media profile and radical changes with social media that start in April. But it will also be very much about your digital ID. Aries, part of your image appears to have been excluded or even put to one side for the time that you have been involved in profiling yourself or even self-promoting. And it could be something as trivial as ex-Twitter, or it could be really major, depending on your job, of course. Now, Saturn in Aries, which is very new, suggests that you look inside yourself and get to know what's in there as well as what's out there, not just the bits that you were trying to work with publicly for the time that various plans were in place for yourself before. So you need to process the new triple cycle of Chiron, Saturn and Neptune in Aries in your first house of image, and then set the coordinates in a direction which serves you. It's quite unusual to have this triple cycle all very much about your photograph, your title, your reputation, your videos online, and so on. But of course, it's also very much about you in the real world and how you front up to people on the front line of whatever is happening, and very much front and center. In a way, you have contradictory cycles going on here. You have Saturn, which binds and restricts you in image and identity terms, in name terms, but you also have Neptune, which is the escape from the real world. This would appear to be about the internet itself, and it will be long-term. There's just a hint of it this week. But what we're going to see over the next few years is the old anonymity online disappearing, and in its place, you will find that social media itself becomes a very different kettle of fish for you. There are also issues here about your passport photograph, biometric identity, your face on new technology. And then we have questions here, of course, about the deep fake market as well. So it's all swirling around in the ether, Aries, but it does affect you where you live. How you deal with this is up to you, but research ongoing is a very good idea. Do your homework on yourself and how you're being represented out there. You might also want to look at what is more interesting, perhaps, which is a big escape from who you are online or maybe in the real world too, as you will be offered a holiday from reality. You may, for example, get a digital twin who is the opposite sex, a different nationality, and so on, and use that as your other self on the internet in the years ahead. All of this is just hinted at as Saturn changes signs this week, joining Neptune, which also changed signs on January 26. Taurus, from April, not far away now, there are sudden changes and new freedom with your money, your property, your business, your charity, and or your possessions. You will emerge as the clear winner in any war of independence. So think America in 1781. And most people simply can't manage that. But from April, there will also be unpredictable situations, and you need to know if you can handle that. Do you know how to go with it when everything changes? Uranus in Gemini in your second house is a big deal. When we go to your birth chart and we look at the second house, we find the sun there. You were born with the sun in Taurus in the second house. And that's also a personal story taking place at the same time as the very public story. April is a massive changeover month right around the world, and for you it will be about your bank account, for example, or about your house, apartment, or any real estate investment. You will be given opportunities and solutions not possible in 12 years, Taurus, from the month of June, as on June 30, Jupiter changes signs. And from there, you have until the middle of 2027 to take full advantage of really sweeping solutions, whether you want to buy or sell property, whether you're renting, whether you're thinking about Airbnb, home exchange, house sitting, and so on. You're being shown a very different, much bigger future as you go into July and August 2026, and maybe they're already in your diary. Perhaps you're planning to renovate then, for example. Taurus, while all this is going on, of course, you're being asked to put a price tag on freedom. And from April, certainly with a few jumps and jolts along the way, by June, you will have made a decision which allows you to break with your financial past and become free of whomever or whatever was so binding for such a long time. Gemini. Foreigners, foreign cultures and countries, foreign accents and languages all raise questions about control and how much control you have. Pluto is the planet which always brings final chapters and new chapters at the same time, which force you to confront yourself with the world map and other nationalities and cultures. This one always results in a new beginning, even while you're waving goodbye to something too, and a new kind of life, usually one which gives you far more control and power if you have the self-control, Gemini. This rolls right through February, and it began in January, but it's an ongoing theme in your life because a particular nationality or culture is asking you to push back and to share the reins perhaps, or find a way to regain them if you feel that the reins are not in your hands. In this cycle, you would experience Pluto through travel, relocation, for work or home reasons, study, teaching, publishing, and the world part of the World Wide Web. Pluto in Aquarius in the 9th house of your chart is a long cycle of about 20 years. If you're one of those Geminis who have Sagittarius factors, then it's personal because your natal 9th house will also be under transit during this time. Whatever nationality you're dealing with, and whether it's home or away, the truth about Pluto is that if you feel that you are being dominated, a particular place, culture, nationality, or person is trying to take over, you absolutely have to resist. And it is this resistance which is a little bit like a mind gym for you. It's a kind of inner personal training, and it makes you stronger by far. Cancer. Well, at the moment, Saturn is out of your foreign country and foreigners zone on February 14, give or take a day either side. Heavy and ring-fenced binding restrictions involving other nationalities or places on the map, other cultures, will stop. The vagueness about the boundaries stopped near January 26. So this is literally a new world for you. The map looks very different, and so do parts of the map or people around you at home who are from another nationality or culture. You do have some karma to complete by the final week of July, but the path will be much clearer to you about closure now that Neptune has gone, and it will be easier now that Saturn is going on February 14. It may have been Israel or the Ukraine if you are political. Perhaps it was migrants at work or home. In any case, choose the path of clarity. Your 9th house, ruled by Pisces, no longer has Saturn and Neptune, just the North Node remains, and that is all about life as it was 18 or 19 years ago, Cancer. So even if you go back to old emails, you might see a particular country featuring or a particular language or accent showing up. And that's really now being repeated thematically. Leo, matters of a joint financial nature, as Patrick Walker called it, have been a shifting piece of sand for you with her, him or them for years. It may have been your romantic partner, your relative, the extended family, or your in-laws. It may have been a chain of different partners. The mist cleared on January 26. It was possible to then see clearly, Leo, and actually know boundaries for the first time in a very long time indeed. Now from February 14, St. Valentine's Day, a long waiting game of heavy restrictions has also gone, and it would have affected the house, the apartment, the shares, the assets, any foundation or charity, and so on. Leo, you have become so used to never knowing where the line is, you have forgotten what it feels like to have one. But here you are, lines in the sand at last, and more than that, you could say the entire landscape has changed for you. Knowing what's what and who fits where is a real plus factor, Leo. And all you really have to do now is get some closure with karma from the past, which will happen around July 26th this year. The closure with the past is there because of the nodal cycle, which runs through your chart and asks you to accept that you are perhaps owed, or maybe you still owe, and it is the universe which is counting the cost. So that might explain to you why one situation will go round and round in circles until the end of July. But after that, we lose these Virgo Pisces nodal cycles for another 19 years, and you are free to conduct your budget very, very differently. Virgo, you are now in an end game cycle with a partner of any sort, or even an enemy. It could be your wife, it could be your brother, it could be your former business partner. Then at the same time, you have to visualize the scales as this person is on the other side of them. Maybe you're very happy together, or maybe you feel that the scales are not tilted correctly. But for the first time in many years, you are able to see what you have with this person and what he or she has with you without any of the previous confusion about where the boundaries were. In fact, Virgo, you have had no boundaries whatsoever for a very long time indeed, either with him or her, or with a sequence of people who either played the role of partner for you or the role of your opponent. Now, since January 26, you can set about doing things very differently. To constantly have to look for an anchor in a situation, the red and yellow flags, is now no longer relevant to you. And from February 14, Valentine's Day, Saturn is also out of Pisces, your opposite sign. Now that's huge. It will be another 28 to 29 years before you hit that cycle again. What's happening is the end of restrictions, the end of limitations, and the end of a very long test of your patience. As a result of this, many Virgos around you will be making milestone decisions about their partnerships or about their disputes this year. You do have karma to complete from 18 or 19 years ago, Virgo, as you owe or you are owed spiritually from what happened then. So this situation now will reflect that for you, and it will be with you until the end of July. Libra. For years, you had Neptune in your 6th house of daily routine, regular workload, the housework, any paid job, part-time or full-time, any unpaid work, charity or volunteering, caring or parenting, and your work ethic. That frequently confused and confusing cycle ended on January 26. Life is clear again. What was so unclear, not seen, not fully understood in any detail, is now laid out in front of you. The occasional unreality of the last 2 years has also stopped, and this may have been in connection with your health, your well-being, or even your mental health. It may have been part of your journey in terms of what you were taking in and what you were seeing. Libra, the endless wait for Saturn to change signs can feel a bit as if nothing ever changes, as he rules the egg timer and the clock, but he will go out of this part of your chart on February 14 and allow for a day either side around the world. That means that you no longer have to realise that you need tactics for a waiting game or no room to move. That's going to be ancient history from the 15th or the 16th. You just have that karma to complete, and you should do that by July 26, when a repetitive situation still affecting your health and well-being and your daily workload will stop. Scorpio. Each big and lucky new moment that you experience with travel, relocation, study, publishing, the world part of the World Wide Web, teaching, foreigners, and your global angle will help you to search harder for opportunities to expand by June 30. When you set a new agenda and play a new game, Scorpio, preferably using your most optimistic self, things open up for you. It will be another language, accent, or culture. You have until the end of June to complete the solution or the opportunity, which cannot happen outside 12 years. Your journeys, your studies, your new environments, your ventures into traditional or digital publishing, and your exploration of whatever you find foreign is where the potential is. Jupiter in Cancer in your solar 9th house is here until June 30. So if you feel as if things are falling into place, you're absolutely right. Right time, right place, right people, right situation for you. All you really have to do is follow the path being laid out for you, but make sure that you do it before the end of June. Sagittarius, your ambition to serve other people, to look after other people, even animals, depending on your job, and your ideas about success now triggers a new journey from April, which is a big turnaround month. Everything changes then because Uranus leaves your sixth house of daily routine, work, service, and duty. At the moment, what you're doing is juggling something that never stops changing. And in fact, you've been doing that since 2018. There has been no routine in your daily routine at all. And during this time, there may have been a complete change of your position, your status, or your employment. For some Sagittarians, the issue has been health or mental health, which has meant utterly transforming the way that you see work and your working life, whether it is the daily routine of domestic chores or whether you are the CEO of your own company. Now, again, just for these last few weeks left for this cycle until April, you're being asked to keep moving. So life is an escalator, and sometimes the escalator will stop, and sometimes it will either run sideways or backwards. And you have to basically do your best to keep up with it and keep moving too. What you get out of this is freedom and independence on a level not possible in your adult lifetime. In fact, the last 2 years have been all about that. What finally happens with the end of this transit is going to be a total surprise for you, but it will in fact liberate you. And if you are wise enough to see it now, you'll be taking steps in that direction anyway. Capricorn. Money, real estate, possessions, charity, business, and other people's life budgets will seem so different now, as Pluto in Aquarius sends the message that there is more to you than other people's old ideas about what money meant to you or what real estate meant to you too, perhaps work. The old game that you and others were playing is no longer relevant. In January and February 2026, as you get a transit through the sign of Aquarius and your second house of values and everything that is valuable to you. This means deep transformation and a big question about your willpower and your self-control, Capricorn. At the moment, you are still going through light being shed on the numbers, and that began at the end of January. There will be more light shed by the time you get to the third week of February. At the moment, you realise that the process is slow. It is very much about who or what makes you feel empowered and who or what doesn't, because that's where you have to really start the work. And it may be the bank, it may be somebody involved with you and the house or the apartment, or on a wider level. At the moment, Pluto is telling you that if you want self-control to work for you, you maybe have to put in more effort and more energy this week. But your reward long-term, and this is a cycle of many years, is a tremendous position of power that it would take a huge amount to change in terms of everything that you own, earn, or owe. Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius, your own zodiac sign, presents you with an image, identity, profile, and name challenge to go beneath the surface, to present the surface. And this may be what is happening in terms of digital ID, or it may be about what is under discussion in terms of the internet itself, anonymity, and social media, which is set to change so much in April. In the meantime, you have more everyday matters to think about. So this might be a photograph of you, a film clip of you, your name, your title, your brand, and so on. Maybe about your wardrobe or your weight. This is true even in a small way, but the message is still the same, that if you want to feel empowered, you have to identify anything or anybody that is pushing against that and push back. In fact, Pluto transits are always about pushing back. If you let things just slide and if you let them happen to you, that's exactly what will happen, Aquarius. And you may feel as if you have no control at all over things like the way that you're presented or the way that you're presented even to your own government. So it's a good idea this week to be right across all these issues which people are talking about, because with this current weather that we're having in Aries, which rules the head and the face, what you're going to see worldwide and in your own country will affect you where you live. At the same time, smaller matters require your attention. If you want to make an impact, then you will change your image. And if you already changed it in January, you may this week want to change it again. Pisces. With 2 cycles gone from your image zone, you will be given a rare chance to dig up all those bits and pieces of your personality which were not on show before, so that you can finally bring all of you to the web. This may be about your name, your reputation, the names, plural, that you use, your title, your face, your shape, or your style. Neptune and Saturn are gone as a double act in Pisces. On February 14, for example, Saturn has gone for another 29 years. Back on January 26, Neptune went. So this leaves a big vacant space for your image, and you need to take your time this week to figure out what you're going to do with it, according to your horoscope. Pisces, you lost Neptune from Pisces, as I mentioned, on January 26. Saturn goes from Pisces on February 14. And the North Node of Karma goes near July 26, all in your first house. The North Node needs a bit of consideration because it is about the way things were for you 18 or 19 years ago. Matters affecting your identity then, your reputation, your personal appearance, are all coming back one way or another. And that may explain why you find yourself in a repetitive circular situation regarding image or profile or appearance, which would not stop until the final week of July 2026. Understanding that closure is required, and that is why there is so much repetition, is halfway to getting there. And actually, Pisces, you can change your attitude. You can change on the inside. You can change your attitude towards who or what always seems to be stuck on rewind for you. Maybe it's your relationship with the internet. Maybe it's your relationship with the media, depending on the job that you do or the person that you are. In other cases, it may be a long-standing issue, like an aspect of your weight or another aspect of your appearance that you feel is stuck, and yet you will get there. By the time you get to the final week of July, this really long triple cycle in Pisces is well and truly over. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you next week.